That's the maximum annual bill facing homeowners once the new property surcharge lands in 2028. But here's what nobody's telling you. That number isn't even the part that should worry you most. If you're over 60 and you own your home in the UK, 3 separate rule changes just landed within days of each other, and at least one of them is already costing pensioners their benefits without them ever realizing why. Stay to the third point because it involves a 9-month clock that's already ticking on thousands of family homes right now, and almost nobody knows it exists. I'm David Whitfield. I spent close to 20 years advising retired homeowners on exactly this kind of thing: property, pensions, and the tax traps that sit quietly between them. And here's why you haven't heard any of this from anywhere official. The DWP and HMRC don't ring you up to warn you. The system runs on what you know to ask about, not what you're entitled to or what's about to hit you. There are 3 things happening right now that touch almost every homeowner over 60 inches this country, and they've arrived within the same fortnight. Let's go through them properly, one at a time. And remember, stay for the third one. It's the one that catches families completely off guard. The first is the one doing the most damage right now, quietly, in the background, and most people affected don't even connect the dots. It's called equity release. If you've ever considered unlocking cash from your home without selling it, you'll have heard the pitch. You take a lump sum, you stay living there, and the loan gets repaid eventually from the sale. It sounds clean. What the brokers rarely spell out is what that lump sum does to your benefits the second it lands in your account. Under DWP rules, that cash counts as capital, as savings, from the moment it arrives. If your total savings go above £10,000, your pension credit starts shrinking by £1 a week for every £250 over that line. Go above £16,000 and pension credit doesn't shrink anymore. It stops completely. And here's the part that really hurts. Pension credit is the key that unlocks almost everything else. Lose it, and you can lose your council tax reduction, worth up to £2,500 a year in some areas. You can lose the winter fuel and warm home discount. You can lose free NHS dental checks, free eye tests, and your free TV license at 75. Add it up, and a pensioner can quietly lose £3,000 to £4,000 a year, every single year because of one lump sum that seemed harmless at the time. Picture Joan, 71, in Kent. She takes £20,000 out through equity release to help her son with a deposit. 6 weeks later, her pension credit letter arrives, and it isn't a top-up, it's a cancellation. Nobody at the brokerage mentioned this. Here's the twist almost no one is told about. Many equity release products let you draw the money down in smaller chunks, instead of one lump sum, say £4,000 at a time, keeping your balance under that £10,000 line between withdrawals. Same total cash released, same product, same broker commission. The only difference is whether you keep your benefits or lose them. If you're even considering equity release, the one question to ask your advisor is whether a drawdown structure would protect your pension credit. That single question can be worth tens of thousands of pounds over 5 years. This next one landed just over a week ago, and it came straight from Downing Street. Andy Burnham became Prime Minister on the 20th of July, and in his very first interview in the role, he confirmed the so-called mansion tax, officially the Value Council Tax Surcharge, is staying. From April 2028, homes in England valued above £2 million will face an extra annual charge running from £2,500 up to £7,500, collected alongside your normal council tax bill. The government itself expects around 165,000 properties to fall into this from launch. Now, you might be thinking that doesn't touch you, but here's the part being actively discussed at the highest level right now, reported the very day Burnham took office. There's live speculation that the £2 million threshold could be dropped to £1.5 million. Not law, not confirmed, but on the table. And that matters more than people realize. Because an ordinary family home in Surrey, parts of London, or the wider southeast that cost a couple of £100,000 back in 2000 can easily sit above that line today, simply because of decades of price growth, not because anyone bought a mansion. And running alongside this, separately, and this part is confirmed, not speculation, Unspent defined contribution pension pots are being pulled into the inheritance tax estate for the first time from the 6th of April, 2027. Until now, those pots pass to your children completely outside inheritance tax. From next April, anything above the nil rate band gets hit with the standard 40% charge. If you own a valuable home and you're also sitting on an untouched pension pot you are planning to leave to your family, your total estate exposure just changed, and the window to take advice while the old rules still apply is closing fast. Well under a year now. Almost everyone assumes the third one doesn't apply to them. It does, and it's the one I told you to wait for. It concerns selling your main home, and a specific HMRC time limit that barely anyone has ever heard mentioned out loud. Most people know the basic rule: private residence relief, sell your main home, no capital gains tax on the profit. Straightforward if you live there right up until completion day. But here's what catches families out. Once you move out, whether into a care home, in with a son or daughter, or just before the house sells, you don't lose that protection instantly. You get a grace period called the final period exemption. And that grace period is only 9 months. Picture a pensioner who moves into care in January. The family, dealing with clearing the house, probate paperwork, and finding a buyer, doesn't complete the sale until 15 months later. Private residence relief covers every month they actually lived there, plus 9 months after. But the remaining 6 months beyond that falls completely outside the exemption. HMRC then calculates what share of the property's total gain relates to those 6 unprotected months and taxes it at 18% for basic rate taxpayers or 24% for higher rate taxpayers. On a home that's grown substantially in value over 20 or 30 years, even 6 unprotected months can generate a tax bill running into thousands of pounds that the family never saw coming because nobody told them the clock had already started. And here's the critical detail. That 9-month clock starts from the day the person moves out, not from the day the family decides to sell, and not from the day the house actually sells. Every month past that 9-month mark is a month of live exposure. If someone in your family is moving into care, moving in with relatives, or the house is simply taking a while to shift after they've left, get advice before that 9 months runs out, not after the sale has already gone through, because by then, your options have gone. So here's where all of this leaves you. Burnham's confirmed the mansion tax stays from 2028, and the threshold could still drop to 1.5 pounds million, pulling in ordinary family homes that were never meant to be caught. Pension pots join the inheritance tax estate from April 2027, so anyone with a valuable property and an untouched pension needs to look at the whole picture together. Soon, equity release lump sums count as savings the moment they land and can wipe out pension credit and everything that comes with it above £16,000. So draw down, not a lump sum, if your benefits matter to you. And that 9-month final period exemption on your main home is already running for plenty of families right now, whether they know it or not. If you've got a parent, a neighbor, or a friend who owns their home and is over 60, send them this today. It might be the only warning they get before one of these 3 catches up with them. Subscribe, so the next rule change reaches you before the deadline passes, not after. Because the one thing every part of this has in common is that the system never calls to warn you. You only find out once the bill or the loss has already landed. I'm David Whitfield, and I'll see you in the next one.